Well, what's the last week and a half as far as preparation go? How have the guys really kind of
Prep
gotten things ready for the national tournament?
preparation in their own heads. I mean, these guys should be interested in winning, pinning, and scoring points. And however they say that in their head, that's what it should be about. Peaking is a mindset. The great John Smith, I think that was a philosophy that he verbalized, and it is. That's true. And in their own way, that's what you're getting ready for. It is the event that we talk about, um, that we train for whatever you want to talk about importance or placing importance on it. That's not what this is about. It's the next event on the calendar, and it is about being at your best every time out, and this happens to be the next time out. Keep it in perspective.
Uh, Drake, last year he had a nice national tournament, got to the finals. What was he able to do that allowed him to get to that point? And what does he need to do to kind of recapture and have the same?
I think he's a guy that's forceful by nature in his own way. You can think of forceful by nature and you can run it through your head and have your own definition of that, but in his own way, he's a force of nature. He's forceful by nature, and you can't be in between. You got to commit to doing one thing or commit to doing the other. And when he's committed, then there's no issues there. And that's the difference.
Uh, for him, is it just a matter of being loose, wrestling free when he's at
That's
his
for
best?
that's for him to answer. That's not for me to answer. It's something that we talk about. I mean, you got to be at peace with your preparation. You got to be at peace with your self-talk. You got to be at peace with what you're trying to accomplish, and he will be at his best when it's time. I have great confidence in Drake Ayala. I have great confidence in all our guys. That's where we're at. It's that time. It is that time.
Ben's performance. I know we talked about it at the end of the Big Tens, but how did that kind of propel him forward into Philadelphia, and how can he build on that
Well,
this week?
when you talk about, every time out is an important opportunity to showcase your abilities and skills. And then there's even more things that are at stake, like seeds and positioning yourself for your end run. I think that's what the Big Ten championships did for him. It's a qualifier, but it's an important event. And all events are important as they come up because that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to position yourself the best, and that's what he did with his performance at the Big Tens. And you know what? We're going to be better than that. That's the idea. We got to be better than we were, 2 weekends ago. Fired up, fired up.
And Ja'Cory seemed pretty banged up at the Big Tens. How is he doing? Kind of coming
I
into
mean, I don't know if he's banged up. I think he's fine. I think, again, I said it about Drake, and then I went and said it about all of our guys. I am not concerned about Ja'Cory Teamer. Ja'Cory Teamer is going to be at his best, like all of our guys are going to be at their best. I believe that. It's that time of year. It's time. They're interested in winning, pinning, and scoring points. And if that's the way that you're marching in your own head and in your own words, hey, we're in a good place. We're in a good place.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Travel safe.
Thank you.
Well, you finally get your chance at the NCAA tournament. How long have you been, kind of anticipating this opportunity that's in front of you?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I mean, I've been going to the NCAA tournament for the last probably 6, 7 years. So, been there in the stands, but never on the mat. So that'll be fun. I'm excited.
Out of those tournaments that you have attended as a fan, spectator, do you have a favorite memory or anything that really stands out to you about those times?
Well, whenever we go, we'd get to sit with the Gables. So that's probably the coolest part about that. But yeah, I mean, it's just a great environment. So yeah.
The Big Tens, you really, I guess, seed wise or ranking wise, you improved your stock a lot with that performance. What have you done over the last week and a half to really kind of build on that and and take it to another level in Philly?
Yeah, I'd say the biggest thing is just keep a good thing going. I mean, Big Ten was an all right tournament. I mean, I didn't win, so it's not a great tournament. But I think I matured a lot in that tournament and kind of found my type of wrestling again, I guess you could say, like kind of what I'm used to, and that's just winning gritty matches. And so, yeah, I'm just going to keep that going, same mentality in the Nationals.
What's the key when you get in those tight matches to come out on top? I know you'd probably like to have a little bit of a bigger gap, but I know you talked about scoring more takedowns. But when you're in those tight matches, especially your last two, you did a great job of making sure you came out on top.
Yeah.
What's key there?
I don't know. It's hard to explain. I mean, I don't want to say like my wrestling tightens up, but I mean, it's crunch time, so you kind of have to do whatever you got to do to win those matches, I guess you could say. And if that's riding somebody out for a whole period, that's going and getting a takedown in the last 30 seconds. It's kind of whatever the match needs, and those last two matches kind of do the same thing. It was me riding the guy, and that was that.
I asked Drake the same thing. Where do you think you've kind of grown the most over the course of this season?
I'd say like a confidence or like a belief in myself. I'd say you could kind of tell a difference in my wrestling at Big Tens compared to maybe some other matches throughout the year. I'd say just being confident in who I am and who I am as a wrestler and a person.
This is a big stage, biggest stage for college wrestling, but you've been on some big stages,
Yeah.
with world competitions, U.S. national tournaments. How have those events maybe prepared you for something like this week?
I mean, yeah, to me it's just another tournament. I guess you could say it's just the next thing on the schedule. I mean, I wrestled at the World Tournament, and at the time that was the next biggest thing for me. So I'd say the biggest thing is just not making it bigger than what it is. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just a wrestling tournament, and there's a little more at stake, I guess you could say, but just another wrestling tournament at the end of the day.
Thanks, Ben.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so everything kind of leads up to this week. How are you? Sitting? How are you ready to go for this weekend?
I'm super excited. This is the greatest time of the year. I mean, this is like Christmas for me. So I'm super excited. It's gonna be a fun week.
Last year you had a strong performance in Kansas City. Made it to Saturday night. What was key for that run, and how are you maybe a better wrestler now heading into this national tournament?
I think a big thing with the national tournament is you got to take it match by match. You can't look forward. You can't look backwards. You got to take it match by match, and I think I did a good job of that last year. And I plan to do the same thing this year. I've been there before. I've been in Saturday night now, and so yeah, I'm excited.
Do you remember what was going through your mind when you're on the award stand? On that second step.
I mean, I was heartbroken. I remember that. So that sticks with me. I'll remember that feeling for a while. So I'm just excited for this week.
Is there anything in particular that maybe fueled you or motivated you from that moment, whether it was listening to somebody being applauded or?
No, I mean, I don't think there's anything in particular. I wasn't on the top step, so that sticks with me.
What's been the biggest growth for you this season?
I think the biggest growth for me is I think there's a lot. I think I grew up. A lot this year. I don't know if I'd say that about me last year, but this year I feel like I grew up. I've been through some ups, some downs. I mean, I lost my first match in Carver, so yeah, I think I've just grown up, and I'm super excited for this week. And I mean, I keep saying it, but at this point in the season, there's not much more to talk about. It's time where rubber meets the road.
When you talk about kind of growing up, how much of a mentally tough improvement is there when you're talking about, because it sounds like you're talking about just kind of mentally tougher in a way.
Yeah, I mean, I think as you get older, maybe the mental side of things come into play a little bit more, but at the end of the day, it's the same thing. I was doing the same thing when I was 10 years old, wrestling in the AAU state tournament. I thought it was the biggest deal ever, right? So it's just got to treat it the same way. Just another competition. but there's obviously a big X on this one or a circle, whatever.
I know you're looking forward, but what was the biggest takeaway from the Big Tens?
The biggest takeaway is that I don't know. I mean, I think the biggest takeaway was obviously that I didn't. I think some people might think that the biggest takeaway was that I didn't come out on top, but like I said, I grew up a lot in that tournament. I learned a lot, and I'm going to take that experience with me into this week. So good.
Thank
Thank you, guys.
Sure.